Hi, everyone. Welcome to Curated by Becta's Rockin' New Year's Eve. Just like Ryan Seacrest and Dick Clark, except so much more delicious. Thanks for ordering a meal kit this week, and thanks for letting us be a part of your special holiday celebrations for our new year. We've got a delicious meal kit for you tonight, and so why don't we go ahead and get started? First thing, make sure your oven is set to 450. You want to get a pan, heavy bottom pan. In my case, cast iron is the best, but any heavy bottom pan will do great. You want to preheat it to high. Use some neutral oil. So I'm using some grapeseed oil, but you can use canola oil or vegetable oil, but not olive oil because the smoking content is a little bit different. And make sure to turn on your hood fan so that when you sear it, it doesn't go like crazy. And blow off your fire alarm, which I've done in the past. Let's see, what else do you want to get? You're going to be needing a spoon to do some butter bathing, so get some of that. Got my veggies beside, and once we get our lamb into the oven, after we've done the searing, then we can work on all the rest of the stuff. But in the meantime, I just want to say cheers to you. Thanks for all of your amazing support tonight and this year, and for our whole 3.5 years of Curated by Becta. Okay, once the pan starts getting smoking hot, the one way to test this, throw a little water in there, and if it pops like crazy, then you know it's ready to go. And so our braised lamb shanks, we've already cooked them sous vide, and so we're going to basically sear them off. So about 2 minutes per side. So I'm going to get some metal tongs ready to go. Got all my veg nearby. I'm usually good at multitasking, but because the lamb takes quite a bit of time, I don't want to jump ahead too much. Let's talk about this delicious sparkling wine for those smart people who have ordered this as a pairing. Of course, you need to have bubbles on New Year's Eve, and this is our Blonde Becta. So we've had this for probably about 6 years now. Partnership with Cave Spring Cellars. It's only for our 3 restaurants, Becta Play and Gazelig, and we go through about 1,000 cases of this a year. It's aged 30 months on the lees, which is actually longer than fine vintage champagne, and it's just delicious. 100% Chardonnay, which is the Blanc de Blanc part, and it's just super creamy, minerally, citrus, delicious. Very nice. All right, let's see how our lamb is doing. We want to get a nice crust on it. Don't turn it up. Don't turn it over too quickly because you want that nice sear on both sides. Chef says about 2 minutes per side, and then we're going to melt some butter in there. What I can do is start thinking ahead. So I've got 1 tablespoon of butter and 1 tablespoon of milk or water, your choice, for our polenta, and we're going to melt that. So let me put that on low until we get a melt. See how our lamb is doing. Yeah, we got a nice sear on it. We're going to do about 2 minutes on the other side on that sear, and then we're going to butter bathe it and then throw it in the oven. Make sure to use some tin foil to tarp it. And so get a baking sheet with some parchment paper. The parchment paper is only there to suck up the juices a little bit and also to prevent you from having to scrub the baking sheet. So that is part of the secret trick. And when we're done with the searing, then you can turn the hood fan off because it's got to be pretty loud for you guys. We want to get some other butter aside. We're going to do half an ounce per person for our jus, which I'm going to heat up on low while the lamb is cooking. And we might as well get our chowder working. I'll heat it up on medium because we're not going to plate it right to the end. Okay, I think the lamb's got a nice sear on both. So now we're going to take 1 tablespoon of butter per person, and as soon as it melts, if you're using a cast iron pan, you're going to turn the heat down. Then you get some nice lamb jus going on in the pan, and that's going to help you braise it as well, or butter bathe it. Move it around, and this guy can go down to low. Hood fan can come off, and this is the secret. So sort of bring it down on a 45-degree angle, and with the butter, you're going to bathe the lamb. There's going to be some sticky bits in the pan. Don't worry about it. We're going to use those later because you're going to reuse this pan for the veggies. The stuff that gets created here is called the fond, and that's that sort of sticky meat juice stuff, and it's going to be great with your veggies because it's going to flavor them in a beautiful way. Because why not? It's going to be on the same plate with the lamb. So 45-degree angle, butter bathed. I'm so excited so many of you wanted to continue on enjoying the Curated by Becta program while we've been moving to the special occasions. You know, we've sold out of both Christmas and then New Year's, and it's just wonderful that people want to continue dining really well at home and having us be able to help them, which is awesome. Okay, so we're about a minute into the butter bathing. Now we can take this off and put it on a baking sheet. And if there's some meat that's kind of glued, I don't know if I'm in the frame, but if there's some meat that's kind of glued to the pan, you can scrape that off and try to put it back on the lamb. You don't need to get it all, but just if there's big chunks, make sure that it goes into the oven with the other stuff. And you can turn this burner off for the moment. Okay. Let me come over here so you guys can see. We're going to tent the lamb with the tin foil, and that's going to help it steam. And in the 450-degree oven, hey Google, set a timer for 15 minutes. Google's slow tonight. Amazing. So I'm going to stop the video right now and pick it up after about 10 minutes, and then we'll finish off the veg and get this rolling. All right, folks, we're back. And so lamb's been in the oven for about 5 minutes now. So you want to take the oil that was in the pan and drain it off, but there's going to be some nice lamb fond in there. Now, if you don't want the little brown bits, you can take them out, but I really like them, and it's going to add something nice to the veggies. But you can scrape them off the bottom. And now we want to turn it on again. 1 tablespoon per person of neutral oil. Going back to the grapeseed oil, and that's going to sear with the cauliflower. Our lamb jus that we added some butter to is looking good. Want to make sure that our seafood chowder is going to be piping hot. Let me turn that up a little bit now. And we want to get the milk and butter combo for our polenta also working. But I hope that you actually do the seafood chowder first before you start anything. I'm just trying to keep the video a little compressed. Just warm that up, top it up with the crispy shallots and the dill oil, and then you're all set. And then have a little break, enjoy the wine, and then come back for the main course. Okay, so this is ready to go with our cauliflower. I'm going to mix that around. And it's going to get nice and brown because, again, it's got the lamb fond in there. About 5 minutes with the cauliflower. I'm going to just write down a note for Chef Rich. That's why we do these things in advance, is that anything that we need, we talk about it beforehand, before all the packing happens. He says 5 minutes. It might be a little bit less. It might be 4 minutes on the cauliflower before we add the other stuff. And I believe it's medium-high heat on this. Yeah, medium-high for the veg, so not super high. I can get rid of that now. And I think we're at the point now where I can boil the butter in milk or water, whatever your preference is. And as soon as that boils, we're going to start adding the polenta. I'm going to like using one of these plastic spatulas. Yeah, it is ready now. So we're going to start adding it a little bit at a time and then whisking it in. So I'm going to add maybe about a third right off the bat. And just break it up and give it a good whisk. Sorry, my back is to the camera, but this one requires quite a bit of whisking in order to make sure to get the chunky ingredients out. And as soon as the chunks are out, yeah, don't forget to move the cauliflower around. This guy a little stir. All right, now more polenta can go in. Break it up, give it a stir. Whisking vigorously is what the chef says. Yeah, we want all the chunks to be out of there. Lots a little more in there. Make sure our cauliflower is doing all right. It's got a nice brown on it. So I believe the mushrooms are next. Let me see. Then add the mushrooms for 2 minutes, and the kale is going to be in last. And we're going to add some butter and season with salt and pepper, but not before we do on the kale. All right, give the soup a stir. We can probably turn that off at this point. And back to whisking vigorously for the polenta. I think I'm probably good to add the end of it. Chef was worried that it would maybe be a little bit chunky, and he said, maybe we include using an immersion blender. I was like, man, maybe everyone doesn't have an immersion blender at home. So if you have one, you want to use it, go for it. But I think there's no chunks coming up in this polenta, so we won't need to worry about it. Okay, I'm just going to turn the heat down on that guy now, just to keep it warm. A little spin there. How are our mushrooms and cauliflower coming along? Nice. And I believe this is the point where we add the butter. One tablespoon per person of the butter. And that'll melt in there. So I will say that there's more lamb stuck to the pan than I had expected. So if you're watching this video and that's going to freak you out a little bit, feel free to use a new pan. And you can just pour some of the lamb fond from the lamb pan into a brand new pan. I like the little bits, but for some people it's not going to be like, super perfect. So if you're watching this and you want to put it in a new pan, you go for it. No judgment. You might have a little bit of the butter from the first part, and then you can just cut back the butter on the second part that we just added in. Okay, butter is melted now. Now the kale goes in. Let's whisk this guy vigorously. Okay, so seafood chowder. So you're just pouring it into the bowl. we're going to top with crispy shallots. Now these are done with cornstarch, so there's no gluten in them, for those of you who are concerned about that. And then you've got this lovely dill oil, gives a nice green color. There we are. I'm going to mix my veg. We're going to hit this with some salt and pepper, which of course I forgot. I also forgot on the lamb. Look at this, I'm way out of practice. Glad I have a backup pepper grinder. So I'm going to hit the lamb when it comes out of the oven. Actually, I think that's exactly what you're supposed to do this evening. Keep that over there. I can turn this down now. Just keep it warm until the lamb comes out of the oven. Polenta's looking good. Hey Google, how much time's left on the timer? She's taking her time tonight. Okay, so we're going to plate the polenta in the middle of the plate, but actually, if we've got 2 minutes left, then I'm going to plate the dessert first. Keep all this warm. So that's on low. We're all good there. And I forgot to tell you about this delicious red wine. This is literally one of my favorite red wines in the world. So this is Barbera d'Asti from Molino in northern Italy in Piedmont. Super ripe year in 2021. And I love it. I love it so much. It's like an Italian Pinot Noir, but super rich. I'm going to get a little spoon here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pour this around and we're going to put the tart on top. See if I can move it around the plate into a bit of a circle. Hopefully you can see that. And then we've got our special espresso crumble on top. So feel free to crumble it with your hands. And we'll just clean up the sides of the plate. But I probably got extra because I only get one dessert portion, but I think I got 2 garnish portions. Looking good. So there is our lovely salted dark chocolate tart with citrus caramel and espresso crumble. All right, and the soups, we can move along. The seafood chowder. All right, now let's plate these guys. See, there's no lumps in this. And this is our lovely garlic polenta. If you have some coupe bowls like I have here, they're going to be better because this is going to be a saucy dish. Let's make sure I don't burn my hands. Veg is up next. And again, you're going to have some brown bits from the lamb if you chose not to use a new pan. And that's a totally good thing because it adds to this. Hey Google, off. So don't forget. Hey Google, off. That adds to the beautiful rustic nature of this dish. Don't forget to season the lamb when it comes out of the oven. I don't want to mess up my beautiful new cutting board. I'm going to use a trivet here. Gorgeous. Fantastic. That goes over there. Clean that up. So if you got a little jus there, nothing wrong with putting that on the lamb. little salt and pepper. And the piece de resistance, 1 more spoon for our lamb jus. I love the way that it pools around the polenta. Oh, man, does this look good. Make sure everything's off. Clean up the side of the plate, a little paper towel. And there is our gorgeous braised lamb shank, done with the roasted cauliflower, mushrooms, kale, and roasted garlic polenta with lamb jus. I hope you love your New Year's Eve. I hope you have a fantastic way to start and bring in the new year. And I really hope we get to cook or curate or welcome you into one of the restaurants in 2024. Cheers and a Happy New Year.